Imagine standing at the edge of a new year. The calendar is fresh, the days are empty, and the possibilities feel endless. What if I told you that one small habit started this January could transform not just this month but the entire year? Not magic, not luck, but a habit simple and consistent that can shape your life. Every year, millions of people start with resolutions, but most abandon them by February. Why? Because they focus on grand changes rather than simple daily actions. One habit wisely chosen acts like a seed. Nurture it daily, and it grows into a tree strong enough to support your dreams. Think of this habit as your compass. When life gets chaotic, this habit brings you back to center. It becomes the foundation upon which your success, happiness, and peace are built. A year can feel long, overwhelming, and unpredictable. But one positive habit can anchor it, giving you clarity and purpose. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be reading 10 pages a day, waking up 30 minutes earlier, journaling your thoughts, meditating, or expressing gratitude. The key is consistency, for even the smallest effort, repeated daily, compounds in unimaginable ways. This January, I invite you to choose wisely, act consistently, and watch the ripple effect. The habit you start now is not just about January. It's about every challenge you will face, every opportunity you will seize, and every moment you will cherish in the months to come. Remember, the smallest action taken with intention today can save you months of struggle tomorrow. Habit is not just a task. It is your invisible mentor, your daily guide, your secret strength. Start this January, nurture it every day, and the year ahead will bow in gratitude to your discipline. Every big change in life starts with something small. It might seem almost invisible at first, like planting a tiny seed in a vast garden. You dig a little hole, place the seed inside, cover it with soil, and water it gently. At that moment, it doesn't look like much. There's no towering tree, no shade, no fruits. It's just a tiny seed buried under the earth. But that small, almost insignificant act carries within it the potential for something extraordinary. That's exactly how habits work in our lives. One simple positive habit, started with intention and consistency, can grow into a tree strong enough to support your dreams and aspirations. You might think that skipping a single day or that one small decision doesn't matter, but every single day is part of a chain. It's part of a chain. Each action you take is like watering the seed, and each day you neglect it is like leaving the seed dry and unprotected. It's the compounding effect that makes all the difference. Think about the habits of people you admire. They weren't born with extraordinary skills or magical luck. They started small. A musician practiced 5 minutes a day before performing for thousands. A writer wrote a single paragraph each morning before finishing their breakfast. A successful entrepreneur made small, deliberate choices consistently, long before the world noticed. And slowly, over weeks, months, and years, those tiny efforts transformed into mastery, into success, into a life of impact. The same principle applies to any habit you choose. If you decide to start waking up 30 minutes earlier, the first day might feel insignificant. You may wonder what difference it makes. But over time, those 30 minutes become a period of reflection, planning, and growth. Over months, it becomes hours. And suddenly, your productivity, your mindset, and even your confidence have grown beyond recognition. The beauty of small habits is that they are approachable. Grand resolutions often fail because they feel too overwhelming, too distant from where you are today. But a single small action feels doable. And that's where change begins. Planting one seed is simple. Eating one healthy meal, reading a few pages, expressing gratitude once a day, or going for a short walk. These are seeds. And if you continue faithfully, they blossom into results far bigger than you could have imagined. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to do something consistently. Over time, these small actions accumulate, forming a foundation strong enough to support more significant changes. And remember, growth is often invisible at first. Just as the seed spends weeks or months underground before breaking through the soil, habits take time to show their impact. This is why patience is essential. Don't give up because the change is slow or subtle. Keep nurturing the habit. The habit? Water it daily with attention and care, and eventually you will see the growth. That small seed you planted in January could become a tree that carries you through challenges, provides shelter during difficult times, and bears fruit that others can enjoy. One habit is not just a small act, it is the beginning of a transformation. It has the power to shape your mindset, your relationships, your career, and your life. In essence, every monumental achievement, every extraordinary life began with a simple act. The seed planted today can save your year, change your trajectory, and build a life you once only dreamed of. Small seeds planted with intention truly grow into mighty trees. Many of us have fallen into the trap of thinking that only grand gestures or massive effort can lead to meaningful change. We set huge goals, imagining that if we just push ourselves hard for a short period, everything will magically fall into place. But life rarely works that way. The truth is that consistency, showing up every day, doing the small things reliably, is far more powerful than occasional bursts of intensity. Poshu, imagine a river slowly carving through rock over centuries. At no point is the river in a hurry. It does not make a sudden leap and create a canyon overnight. Yet, day after day, month after month, it wears away mountains, shapes valleys, and creates landscapes that seem impossible. That is the power of consistency. A single effort, repeated daily, compounds into extraordinary results. Consistency is about building momentum. When you commit to a habit and practice it regularly, your mind and body begin to adjust naturally. The first few days are always the hardest because you are asking yourself to do something new, something that breaks the comfort of old routines. But once you continue, the habit starts to feel less like a task and more like a natural part of your life. You begin to experience small victories, a clearer mind after a few minutes of meditation, a sense of accomplishment after reading a chapter, or more energy after walking each morning. These small wins are the fuel that drives you forward. If you only focus on intensity, you risk burning out quickly. You may push yourself to extremes one week, but without regular practice, the next week can feel like starting over from scratch. Consistency ensures that your progress never stops, that you are always moving forward, even if the steps seem tiny. Consider someone learning a new skill, like playing an instrument. Practicing for 5 minutes every day is far more effective than playing for 3 hours once a month. The daily repetition strengthens memory, builds muscle coordination, and forms a rhythm that can't be achieved in sporadic bursts. Life is no different. Reading a page a day, saving a small amount of money weekly, or dedicating a few minutes to reflection each morning may feel insignificant in the moment. But over weeks and months, it compounds into mastery, stability, and growth. The consistency of small actions shapes your character, your habits, and ultimately the trajectory of your life. Consistency also builds resilience. Life will test you with challenges, distractions, and moments when you feel like giving up. If you have a habit of showing up day after day, you develop a quiet strength that carries you through those challenges. The intensity of a single day of effort cannot prepare you for long-term struggles, but consistent effort builds endurance, patience, and self-discipline. It's the difference between running a sprint and running a marathon. Sprints can be thrilling but exhausting. Marathons test your commitment, your planning, and your willpower. And in the end, only consistency wins the race. So in the journey to transform your year, remember that it's not the moments of extreme effort that define you. It's the daily steady steps that create lasting change. Intensity may provide a temporary boost, but consistency builds an unshakable foundation. Every day you show up, even in small ways, you are shaping your future. Over time, these repeated actions will accumulate like invisible deposits in the bank of your life. And eventually, you will see the wealth of results that consistency alone can create. There is something incredibly powerful about beginnings. The way a fresh start carries energy, possibility, and clarity. Starting early, especially at the very beginning of the year, gives you an advantage that many overlook. January is not just a month. It is a symbol, a blank page in the book of your life waiting to be written. When you choose to start a habit early, you harness the momentum that comes with new beginnings. It's like setting a train in motion at the start of a long journey. The earlier it begins, the farther it can travel without interruption. Starting early isn't about perfection. It's about giving yourself a head start, a small window of consistency that compounds into remarkable results. Think of it this way. The first days of January are like the first drops of rain on dry soil. If you water the soil consistently from the beginning, It absorbs the moisture, becomes fertile, and supports growth throughout the year. If you wait until the soil is parched and cracked, even heavy rain may struggle to bring life to it. Similarly, the habits you plant at the start of the year grow stronger because they are rooted early, giving you months to nurture them before distractions, responsibilities, and the busyness of life begin to weigh you down. By starting early, you create a rhythm, a pattern that your mind recognizes and begins to support naturally. Your motivation is high, your energy is fresh, and your focus is sharp. That combination is like a spark lighting a fire that can keep burning steadily for the next 12 months. Starting early also gives you the power of momentum. There is a natural excitement at the beginning of a year. People feel motivated, hopeful, and energized. Using this energy to start a habit sets a tone for the months to come. Each day you stick to the habit reinforces your confidence, creating a chain of success that becomes self-perpetuating. Momentum is subtle but unstoppable. One small action in January, repeated consistently, carries you forward, often when your motivation later in the year may falter. Early starters get the benefit of this compounding effect. They accumulate wins, insights, and discipline long before others have even begun. Another reason to start early is psychological. When you take action immediately, you prevent procrastination from taking root. Aku. The mind is easily tempted to delay, to think I'll start next week or I'll begin when things settle down. But procrastination is a thief of time and potential. Starting early, even imperfectly, signals to your mind and spirit that you are committed. It trains your brain to act rather than wait. This early decision creates a sense of ownership and control over your year, giving you the confidence to face challenges that arise later. You are no longer reacting to the year, you are shaping it proactively. Starting early is not about doing everything at once or overwhelming yourself. It is about planting the first seed, taking the first step, and allowing consistency to build naturally. A small habit initiated in the first days of the year grows into momentum that carries you past obstacles, distractions, and self-doubt. The advantage of starting early is simple. It gives you time, it builds rhythm, and it strengthens resolve. It transforms the abstract concept of a new year into a tangible opportunity for growth. In essence, the earlier you start, the more time your habits have to flourish. January is your chance to create a trajectory for success, peace, and fulfillment. The habit you begin today will carry you through the entire year, giving you the gift of momentum, clarity, and purpose before life's distractions even arrive. In our lives, we often make the mistake of trying to do too much at once. At the start of a new year, it is common to create a long list of resolutions. Exercise more, eat healthier, read more, save money, learn a new skill, all at the same time. While the intention is good, the outcome is often frustration, burnout, and eventually giving up on most of them. True transformation doesn't come from juggling many changes at once. It comes from focusing deeply on one habit, one small action that has the power to create a ripple effect in every other area of life. When you direct your energy toward a single habit, you give it the attention and dedication it needs to take root, grow, and become unstoppable. Focusing on one habit is like aiming a laser instead of scattering sunlight. If you try to shine light in many directions, the energy becomes weak and ineffective. But when you concentrate all your energy in one direction, the impact is powerful and precise. For example, if you decide to make gratitude a daily habit, you may find that it affects not just your mindset, but also your relationships, your outlook on challenges, and your overall happiness. If you focus on reading for 30 minutes every day, your knowledge expands, your creativity grows, and your thinking becomes sharper. One well-chosen habit has a cascading effect that reaches far beyond a single action itself. Another reason to focus on one habit is that it uses mental clutter. Our minds can only handle so much change at once. When we attempt multiple new habits, our attention becomes divided, our motivation diminishes, and our progress slows. By starting with one habit, you simplify your efforts and increase your chances of success. It creates a clear path for action. Today, this is what I will do, and I will do it consistently. Clarity and simplicity are often the missing ingredients in achieving long-term goals. One habit executed well teaches you the discipline to take consistent action and prepares you to add more habits later without feeling overwhelmed. Focusing on a single habit also strengthens your sense of accomplishment. Each day you practice that habit, you are building a streak of success that your mind recognizes and rewards. This small daily victory fuels confidence and motivation, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. Over time, that habit becomes automatic, requiring less effort and thought.
Once it is firmly established, you have the bandwidth to take on additional positive changes. But the first habit remains the foundation on which all future growth is built. It is important to choose your habit wisely. Not every habit produces equal results.
Some habits like meditation, journaling, early rising or consistent exercise are multipliers. They enhance other areas of your life. When you focus on one habit that aligns with your long-term goals, it amplifies your potential and creates momentum that carries over to everything else. The power of one habit lies not just in the act itself, but in the doors it opens and the energy it generates for other positive behaviors. In essence, trying to do everything at once spreads your energy too thin, while focusing on one habit concentrates your effort, simplifies your life, and maximizes impact. One habit, carefully chosen and consistently practiced, is enough to change your mindset, shape your character, and set the tone for the rest of the year. It may seem small at first, but over time it compounds into growth, success, and fulfillment that you never thought possible. The key is not to do more. It is to do one thing exceptionally well every single day. That has a way of testing us. No matter how carefully we plan, challenges, distractions, and unexpected events appear like waves in the ocean, tossing us off course. Some days are smooth, almost serene, but other days feel like a storm, with responsibilities, pressure, and uncertainty pulling us in every direction. In these moments, it is easy to feel lost, overwhelmed, or powerless. This is where the power of a single habit becomes truly evident. A well-chosen habit acts as an anchor, a point of stability that keeps us grounded amid chaos. When everything else seems to be moving unpredictably, this habit becomes the constant, the thing we can rely on no matter what happens. An anchor doesn't stop the storm from existing, it doesn't calm the waves, and it doesn't eliminate problems. What it does is provide a steady point to hold on to, a source of strength that prevents us from being swept away. Imagine a sailor at sea who has a strong anchor. When a storm hits, the boat may rock violently, the winds may howl, but the anchor keeps it from drifting endlessly into danger. In the same way, a habit started early in the year. Whether it is meditation, journaling, exercise, or simply taking a few minutes to plan your day, provides that anchor in life. On difficult days, it reminds you that there is something under your control, something consistent that you can return to. Anchoring yourself against chaos also helps you respond instead of react. Life is unpredictable, and our natural tendency is to react emotionally. Anger, fear, frustration, or stress often drive impulsive decisions. But when you have a daily habit that centers your mind and stabilizes your emotions, you create space between stimulus and response. You begin to observe the chaos without being consumed by it. For example, if you take a few minutes every morning to practice mindfulness, those moments of calm accumulate over time, enabling you to face challenges with clarity and composure. The habit itself becomes a shield, not against problems, but against losing yourself in them. Another aspect of being anchored is the sense of purpose it provides. When life is chaotic, it is easy to feel like you are drifting without direction. A consistent habit gives structure and rhythm to your days, reminding you of what matters. Even in the most turbulent times, you have a point of reference, a daily ritual that connects you to your goals, values, and intentions. This connection keeps you moving forward instead of being pulled off course by every distraction or difficulty that comes your way. The power of a habit as an anchor also lies in its simplicity. It doesn't need to be elaborate or time-consuming. The mere act of showing up every day, of performing one small but meaningful action consistently creates stability. Over time, that stability transforms into resilience, turns into resilience. You begin to realize that storms, no matter how intense, cannot shake you. You are prepared not because the chaos has disappeared, but because you have built a foundation strong enough to endure it. In essence, a single habit started with intention becomes much more than a routine. It becomes your anchor, your refuge, and your source of inner strength. It gives you balance when the world feels unbalanced, clarity when confusion surrounds you, and confidence when fear tries to take over. The chaos of life will never vanish, but with a daily habit as your anchor, you can navigate it with courage, purpose, and unwavering stability. That small, consistent action is not just a habit, it is your lifeline in the storms of the year. One of the most important decisions you can make at the start of the year is which habit to adopt. Choosing wisely is not about picking something trendy or impressive. It is about selecting a habit that aligns with your values, your goals, and the life you truly want to live. Every habit you adopt acts like a tiny investment in yourself. Some habits yield incredible returns over time, compounding into growth, happiness, and success. Others, while seemingly harmless, can lead to wasted energy, frustration, and stagnation. The difference between them is intentionality, choosing wisely. The habit you commit to today can shape your entire year, so it deserves thoughtful consideration and clarity of purpose. Choosing wisely begins with self-awareness. It requires pausing to reflect on your priorities, your strengths, and the areas of your life that need improvement. Ask yourself, which habit, if practiced consistently, will have the most meaningful impact on my life? Is it a habit that improves my mind, my body, my relationships, or my productivity? Is it something that brings me closer to my long-term goals, or is it just a short-term fix that feels good now but fades quickly? Wise choices are rooted in understanding yourself and the direction you want your life to take. Without this clarity, even the most consistent habit may lead to minimal growth because it is disconnected from your deeper purpose. Another aspect of choosing wisely is recognizing the multiplier effect of certain habits. Some habits influence other areas of your life, creating a ripple effect. For example, adopting a habit of daily reading doesn't just increase knowledge. It improves focus, broadens perspective, enhances conversation skills, and even inspires creativity. Exercising regularly strengthens your body, boosts energy, improves mood, and sharpens mental clarity. Gratitude, meditation, early rising, or financial discipline. These are habits that compound over time and influence multiple aspects of life simultaneously. When you choose wisely, you select a habit that doesn't just exist in isolation, but transforms the ecosystem of your daily life. It is also important to be realistic when choosing a habit. Ambition is admirable, but overestimating what you can sustain often leads to frustration and failure. Start with something manageable, something you can commit to every day without excuses. A habit that feels impossible in the beginning may become a source of discouragement rather than empowerment. The key is balance. Choose a habit that stretches you just enough to grow, but not so much that it breaks your momentum. Success comes from habits that are consistent, achievable, and aligned with your personal rhythm. Choosing wisely also requires long-term thinking. The habit you adopt is not about instant results or temporary satisfaction. It is about shaping the trajectory of your life over the next 12 months and beyond. Each day you practice the habit, you are sending a message to yourself that you are capable, disciplined, and committed to growth. That message compounds, strengthening confidence, resilience, and purpose. One wisely chosen habit can create the foundation for future habits, paving the way for a life of intentional growth and meaningful achievement. Ultimately, choosing wisely is about understanding that your time, energy, and attention are precious resources. When you invest them in the right habit, the returns are exponential. It is a small decision with enormous consequences. The habit you choose today can lift your mindset, influence your relationships, enhance your productivity, and give you a sense of control and direction in an unpredictable world. By being thoughtful and intentional, you ensure that the effort you put in daily will not be wasted, but will instead create lasting impact, shaping the rest of your year and beyond. It is easy to underestimate the power of small actions. We live in a world that glorifies big gestures, massive achievements, and overnight transformations. Movies, social media, and even motivational stories often make success seem sudden and spectacular, as if it happens in a single moment. But the truth is far different. The life you dream of is built not by grand actions alone, but by the accumulation of small, deliberate actions repeated consistently over time. Each small step, each minor effort may feel insignificant on its own, but when combined, they become unstoppable forces that shape your destiny. Small actions matter because they are the building blocks of habits, and habits are the architecture of your life.
Consider someone who wants to improve their health. Skipping a single sugary snack, drinking an extra glass of water, or walking for 10 minutes may seem trivial in isolation. But when these small decisions are repeated day after day, week after week, month after month, they produce profound change in physical health, mental clarity, and overall energy. The same principle applies to learning, relationships, productivity, and personal growth. Each small action is like placing a brick in a foundation. Alone, it doesn't look like much, but layer by layer, it builds a structure strong enough to withstand challenges. Small actions also have the power to create momentum. Momentum is a subtle but powerful force. One small effort today often leads to another tomorrow. Writing for 5 minutes can turn into writing a chapter. Reading one page can spark curiosity that leads to reading an entire book. Exercising for 10 minutes can grow into a daily routine that strengthens body and mind. The key is to start small because small actions are achievable and sustainable. They create confidence, and confidence breeds consistency. When you see results, no matter how small, your mind is encouraged to continue, and the habit becomes easier to maintain. Another reason small actions matter is that they compound over time. Just like money in a savings account grows through interest, the small actions you take each day accumulate, often without you even noticing, until one day the results are undeniable. A single page of reading each day amounts to hundreds of pages by the end of the year. A few minutes of meditation daily transforms your focus, resilience, and emotional balance. Small actions are the secret engine behind lasting success. They may seem invisible at first, but their impact is powerful and far-reaching. Small actions also build character. Discipline, patience, and persistence are cultivated not through one-off efforts, but through repeated practice of small behaviors. Each time you choose to act intentionally, even when you don't feel like it, you are training your mind to prioritize long-term growth over short-term comfort. Over time, these choices shape who you are, reinforcing your identity as someone capable, committed, and resilient. Finally, small actions matter because they give you control in a world that often feels chaotic. You cannot control every circumstance, every person, or every outcome, but you can control your actions. Each small step is a way of asserting agency over your life, creating a ripple effect that influences other areas, inspiring yourself and others around you. It reminds you that change is possible, even when progress feels slow. In essence, it is not the grand gestures or dramatic leaps that define your year. It is the consistent, small, intentional actions repeated every day. These are the seeds that grow into transformation, the invisible efforts that shape your success, and the foundation upon which extraordinary results are built. Never underestimate the power of small actions. They matter more than you can imagine. Self-discipline is one of the most powerful forces a person can cultivate, yet it is often misunderstood. Many people think of discipline as restriction or denial, as a list of don'ts that make life difficult. But true self-discipline is not about punishing yourself or living under rigid rules. It is about creating freedom, strength, and control over your choices. When you build self-discipline through a single habit, you are training yourself to act consciously, consistently, and purposefully, even when distractions, temptations, or fatigue try to pull you off course. This ability to act intentionally is what allows one habit to influence an entire year and ultimately an entire life. Self-discipline begins with small commitments. It starts with the decision to show up day after day, even when motivation is low. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like waves, unpredictable and unreliable. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady, consistent, and enduring. Imagine waking up every morning to meditate, right? Exercise or read. On some days, you will feel energized, inspired, and ready to conquer the world. On other days, you may feel tired, distracted, or overwhelmed. Motivation may not be enough to carry you through the latter days, but self-discipline ensures that you follow through anyway. This repeated practice strengthens your willpower and develops a resilience that becomes unshakable over time. Building self-discipline through a habit also reshapes your mindset. When you make a conscious choice to act consistently, you are sending a message to yourself. I am capable. I am responsible. I can control my actions. Each small act of discipline reinforces your confidence, forming a virtuous cycle where consistency breeds belief and belief reinforces consistency.
Over time, you realize that challenges, procrastination, or distractions are no longer barriers. They are opportunities to practice self mastery. The habit you nurture becomes a reflection of your inner strength, teaching you that success is not about talent or luck, but about the ability to act deliberately in every circumstance. Another crucial aspect of self discipline is delayed gratification. Building a habit requires putting off immediate pleasure for long term gain. It might be choosing a few minutes of meditation over scrolling social media, reading a page instead of binge watching a show, or saving a small amount of money rather than spending impulsively. These decisions, repeated daily, train your mind to value growth over convenience and purpose over comfort. In a world filled with distractions, the ability to delay gratification is a superpower. It allows you to stay focused, avoid unnecessary detours, and achieve results that most people only dream of. Self-discipline also strengthens resilience. Life is unpredictable, filled with setbacks, failures, and disappointments. Without discipline, these challenges can derail you, causing frustration, procrastination, or surrender. But a disciplined person treats difficulties as part of the process, using each challenge as a chance to reinforce their habit, deepen their commitment, and grow stronger. This resilience becomes a foundation for success because it ensures that temporary obstacles never prevent long-term progress. Finally, self-discipline is not just about the habit itself. It spills over into every area of life. A single habit consistently practiced builds character, focus, and control, and these qualities influence work, relationships, health, and personal growth. It transforms the way you respond to stress, how you make decisions, and how you pursue your dreams. By building self-discipline in one area, you are essentially training yourself for success in all areas. In essence, self-discipline is the bridge between goals and achievements. The habit you start today, if practiced consistently, becomes more than a routine. It becomes a training ground for your willpower, focus, and resilience. It allows you to navigate life with clarity, courage, and control. Without discipline, even the best intentions fade. But with it, a single habit can shape your entire year, your mindset, and ultimately your destiny. Not every action we take, no matter how small, has the power to create effects far beyond what we immediately see. When you start a single habit, it is not just a personal improvement. It is a catalyst that spreads into multiple areas of your life, influencing not only you, but also the people and circumstances around you. This is the ripple effect, and it is one of the most powerful aspects of a habit started early in the year. Like a stone thrown into a still pond, the impact begins at the point of action but quickly expands outward, touching places and people you may never anticipate. Understanding and harnessing this power is key to creating meaningful change. When you focus on a positive habit, it influences other behaviors naturally. For instance, committing to daily exercise often leads to better eating choices, improved sleep, and greater mental clarity. Reading every day can spark curiosity that enhances problem solving, creativity, and communication skills. Meditation or reflection can cultivate patience, empathy, and resilience, improving relationships and decision making. In this way, a single habit acts as a multiplier. It does not exist in isolation, but triggers a cascade of improvements across your life. The ripple effect magnifies the impact of your initial effort, showing that what begins as a small, deliberate action can transform your entire lifestyle. Ripple effects also extend to the people around you. Your habits influence your energy, attitude, and interactions, often inspiring others without you even trying. A person who wakes up early and approaches their day with focus and discipline may motivate colleagues, family members, or friends to adopt similar behaviors. Someone who practices gratitude consistently can transform the tone of conversations and relationships, creating a more positive environment for everyone they touch. In essence, one habit can create a culture of growth, responsibility, and positivity in your surroundings, far beyond the personal benefits you experience. The ripple effect is powerful because it multiplies over time. A habit started today may seem small or even inconsequential in the early weeks, but as days and months pass, its influence grows exponentially. By the end of the year, the impact of that single habit is no longer limited to the action itself. It affects mindset, character, productivity, relationships, and even opportunities that arise in your life. Small, consistent actions compound silently, building a foundation of success, confidence, and resilience. It's the invisible force that explains why some people achieve extraordinary results with what seems like ordinary effort. Creating ripple effects also reminds us that our choices are never isolated. Every day presents countless opportunities to act intentionally, and every action sends waves outward. When you focus on habits that matter, you are not just improving your own life, you are shaping the quality of your experiences, your influence, and the environment around you. This perspective shifts the way we view responsibility. Success and growth are not merely personal pursuits, they have a broader impact, extending far beyond the immediate moment or task. Finally, the ripple effect reinforces the importance of starting early. The sooner you adopt a meaningful habit, the sooner these waves begin to spread, and the greater the cumulative impact by the end of the year. The habit you start in January does more than change you. It changes your life, the people you touch, and the opportunities that come your way. One simple, consistent action has the power to multiply success, influence, and fulfillment in ways that far exceed the initial effort. You can look back knowing that you made choices that mattered, that you invested your energy wisely, and that you committed to your growth even when it was difficult. Gratitude naturally follows from intentionality because you understand the value of the lessons of the journey and the progress you've made. By starting with awareness, purpose, and commitment, you set yourself up for a year filled not only with achievements, but with the deep satisfaction of knowing you lived intentionally. In essence, the first step you take is far more than just a beginning. It is the seed of your entire year. An intentional start creates clarity, momentum, resilience, and a mindset of ownership, all of which compound into a life that you can look back on with genuine gratitude. The habit you choose, the action you take, and the commitment you make today become the reason you finish the year fulfilled, accomplished, and inspired. That one of the most overlooked qualities in personal growth and success is patience. In a world obsessed with speed, instant results, and immediate gratification, we often forget that meaningful change takes time. When you start a habit, especially one at the beginning of the year, it is easy to become frustrated if progress does not appear immediately. You might question your efforts, compare yourself to others, or feel discouraged that the results are not as visible as you expected. But the truth is that every habit, no matter how small, unfolds in stages. Growth is rarely instantaneous. It is a gradual process, often invisible in the moment, but profoundly powerful when observed over months and years. Embracing patience allows you to stay the course, even when the outcomes are not immediately obvious, and to trust that consistent effort compounds into remarkable results. So, patience begins with understanding the nature of change. Just as a tree does not grow overnight, a habit does not transform your life instantly. Each day you commit to it, you are laying the groundwork. Every repetition, every conscious choice strengthens the habit, reinforces discipline, and shapes your character. You may not see the full impact today, but these small actions are accumulating silently. Over time, this accumulation becomes a visible force. A stronger mind, better habits, improved focus, and a life aligned with your goals. Patience allows you to honor the journey rather than obsess over immediate outcomes. Trusting the process goes hand in hand with patience. Trust means believing that your consistent actions are meaningful, even if the results are delayed. It is the understanding that life is a series of interconnected steps, each building on the previous one. For example, reading 10 pages a day may not make you a writer overnight, but it expands your vocabulary, enhances your thinking, and gradually builds the knowledge and confidence needed to write effectively. It is understanding that progress is not linear, that growth comes in waves, and that consistency over time matters far more than perfection in any single moment. Finally, patience and trust together transform your perspective. They allow you to appreciate the small wins, the subtle improvements, and the daily growth that builds the foundation for extraordinary results. When you are patient and trust the process, you develop a sense of calm and confidence, knowing that your actions, no matter how small, are leading you to your goals. In essence, patience and trusting the process are the secret forces behind lasting change. Every habit, Every small action and every day of consistent effort compounds quietly, creating momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. By embracing patience, you allow your efforts to flourish, your habits to take root, and your year to unfold into growth, success, and fulfillment far beyond what you could achieve through urgency or instant results alone.